All right, back now here at the KFYR Plus News Desk, and a CDC report on some veterinarians shows you might have the bird flu and be asymptomatic. Now, the report is the very latest evidence that the outbreak in dairy herds is spreading undetected in cows, and the spillover into people at the highest risk exposure is going now unnoticed. Joining me right now is Dr. Bryan Ardis, a national medical expert. Welcome, Dr. Ardis. Thank you for your time this afternoon.
It's great to be here, Jay. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. So, Dr. Ardis, can you explain why the bird flu is considered a potential pandemic threat, and what are the key factors that could lead to this spread among humans?
Yeah, very good. The mainstream media is continuing to promote that there's a specific strain of this H5N1 avian influenza virus called the D1.1 strain. And they are finding it not only spreading through cow herds, but they've also supposedly been able to isolate it in some porpoises and seals from the ocean. They've also been able to declare that there was an owl recently this last week that was found to be confirmed with the bird flu. I want everybody to understand this. When it comes to the bird flu, the NIH actually published a document in 2021 that actually states there's 3 natural cures in mammals and birds that cure them of the H5N1 bird flu, regardless of the strain. And this is the excitement thing for me. If you go look at the NIH's website, go to pubmed.gov, you will find that 3 things, 2 of which are found in every grocery store in America, stop, as published in medical research studies, stop the replication of the RNA-type virus that is called H5N1, regardless of the strain. This is what's exciting. Green leaf tea has components inside of it that are a published cure for the bird flu, even in flocks, in herds, and in humans. And they also published that black cumin seed oil is a published cure that in 2013 is a supplement that was added to a failed bird flu vaccine in 2008. In 2013, it showed efficacy in 90% of all birds and humans to stop transmission of the bird flu. Nigella sativa oil or black cumin seed oil. And then the third cure is virgin coconut oil. Make sure you stock up.
Yeah. So, Dr. Ardis, you're saying instead of culling 25 million chickens and having this whole thing going on with, me paying exorbitant prices for a carton of eggs, we could have easily given them cumin seeds to eat and we would be fine?
It is proven to cure birds of the bird flu with a 90% plus efficacy rate. And then also, I want everybody to know, did you know in 2008, CBS News published an article titled Egypt's Disappearing Chickens, and it's all about this same strain of the bird flu you're hearing about in the media right now? And do you know they disclose in that article the only 3 ways Americans and all humans on Earth can even get the bird flu? And I think it's important people know what those 3 ways are.
Yeah, so go ahead.
The only way you can get this strains of the bird flu, I think this is very exciting, Jay, is for everybody to reduce some of the fear and anxiety and panic being promoted. What you need to know is mainstream media is already published in interviewing scientists in 2008 about this particular bird flu. There's only 3 ways they disclose that the CDC, NIH, and FDA know you can get this bird flu.
Okay.
You have to, 1, inhale into your lungs the blood of the infected bird. How many Americans are threatened by inhaling blood of birds? I'm not really sure. Number 2, you have to inhale the feathers of the infected bird into your lungs. How many of you have ever coughed up a feather that went all the way into your lungs? I'm not even sure it's ever happened once, but maybe, who knows? The third way that science knows you can only get the bird flu called H5N1, regardless of the strain, known since 2008, you have to physically inhale, everybody, the poop of the infected bird into your lungs. Now, the only people really that would be at risk would be chicken coop owners or those that work in chicken houses. You just might inhale the bird poop. Otherwise, if you're not inhaling the blood, poop, or feathers of a bird, I don't think you need to worry about getting the bird flu. And in humans, no one's ever died of this strain of the bird flu, so you don't have anything to worry about.
Okay. So I've got an issue with 1 because I have a golf course that I go to, Dr. Ardis, all the time, and those dang geese are there all the time, and they're dropping their droppings all over my tee box and all over my green. So I could be potentially inhaling some of those bird droppings, with that being said. Okay, so 3 ways that you can get it. Why are we, since we're so close, we're 5 years separated from, well, I guess the beginning of COVID, why aren't we more skeptical? We've already see half of the country, over half of it, 55 to 60%, saying that COVID, shouldn't have been anything that we should have been worried about. Why aren't we not skeptical right now concerning the bird flu then?
Well, I have to say, I think more Americans are actually more skeptical than the mainstream media wants you to believe there are, and I'll tell you why. The CDC has actually stockpiled a group of vaccines for the bird flu, and they are actually mRNA vaccines, just like the COVID-19 vaccines. But do you know what the number of vaccines they have accumulated and are holding in case there's a pandemic in America? Do you know the number?
No, I don't.
It's it's 3.5 million vaccines. Now, I have
Okay.
to give you some perspective. There's 340 million Americans. The CDC must not think very many people are going to fall for this if they're only stockpiling only 1% of the population's coverage for these vaccines. But remember, these types of vaccines still to this day have never, ever been researched in a 7 to year long-term trial to determine safety and efficacy. No mRNA has ever even had 7 to 10 years on the market to determine its safety profile. So I would always be leery of using these new drugs that haven't been proven safe or effective, approved by the FDA, or reviewed within a 7 year period from its time being brought to market.
Yeah. Dr. Ardis, you and I have something in common. You lost a family member to COVID-19. I lost a brother in November of 2020 due to COVID. How has that personal loss influenced your perspective on pandemics and on public health?
Yeah, very good question. I'm really sorry for your loss too. It actually propelled me into the media to hire a publicist and get into the media when my father-in-law was killed in 11 days with a flu diagnosis in February of 2020. What I discovered while being in the hospital, having meetings with the medical professionals, I discovered that the drug protocols for the flu they put my father-in-law on were responsible within 24 hours of causing acute kidney failure, then flooded his lungs with water that they incorrectly misdiagnosed him with pneumonia, when in fact they were drowning him to death in his own fluids, and that is called pulmonary edema, not pneumonia. And this same protocol of using drugs that shut down the kidneys, make your body no longer be able to excrete water that will accumulate in your heart and lungs and look like pneumonia symptoms, is the exact same scenario that was created with the protocols that were mandated to treat all COVID-19 patients. The drug they used was called remdesivir, and it actually is published to kill 53% of everybody they gave that drug to in any human trials. And when I learned this, I learned in the studies they determined it created acute kidney failure in 24 hours, leading to accumulated water retention in the lungs, causing severe, deadly pulmonary edema that many medical doctors treating COVID patients were inaccurately diagnosing as pneumonia. And so I went into the media to make sure everybody knew that in the ICUs of America during the pandemic, the NIH literally mandated a drug that caused rapid acute kidney failure that would make their breathing episodes with COVID way worse. And then you vent them and force air into their lungs with water in there, you're going to blow out their lungs and they're going to die from the side effects of the pressure building up in their lungs when they use those inaccurately for that condition. So I literally wrote a book, it's a bestseller on Amazon right now, to outline what you all need to know about a pandemic, the hospital protocols, their treatment protocols, natural antidotes, and what you need to know about these particular vaccines that were never used on human beings and are now a part of almost every schedule around the world.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. What inspired you to write the Moving Beyond the COVID-19 Lies? So let me move on to the next. What are some of the main misconceptions about COVID-19 that you address in your book?
Number one, scientists around the world still today, medical researchers and scientists still published that there was a apparent paradox with COVID-19 worldwide. Number one, you will see in research studies that smokers of all people of tobacco products were the most immune to getting COVID, testing positive for COVID, ending up in hospitals with COVID, or ever dying. In fact, all smokers worldwide, only 1.6% of them ever got sick with COVID, even tested positive for COVID. And the truth is, in tobacco is found a nutrient in the plant that provided immunity to the smokers using their products against COVID-19, and that substance is called nicotine. Now, since smoking was identified as an apparent immune factor for those to get COVID, did you know in 2023, The NIH on their website right now published a paper, a study. You can look it up, and I highlighted in the book. They took all long COVID sufferers, those with loss of taste and smell, ringing in their ears, dementia or brain fog, palpitations in their heart, all called long COVID. And they asked them, have they been on any medications in the last 2 years with these symptoms? They all had. Have you tried any physical therapy? Yes, they had. These scientists asked them to do one thing and one thing only. We now want you to wear a 7 milligram nicotine patch for 6 days only, and we want to see what happens to all your symptoms. 100% of all long COVID symptoms were completely removed from every patient within 3 days, and at most 20 days after the first day of using only 6 days of a nicotine patch. And not a single person ever became addicted to nicotine. 100% of all their symptoms disappeared. And all of you should know the truth. There are 200 long COVID symptoms and diseases right now named by our government, and the majority of them are cured in less than 6 days with a 7 milligram nicotine patch.
7 milligrams. I know somebody with long COVID, so I'll definitely pass that along to them. At least it's worth a try. They've been suffering and they've had COVID. Well, I guess the symptoms since 2020. They got it at the same time. We went to a wedding together. Is my uncle, and so he obviously has still got the long COVID. So I'll pass that along to him, Doc. In your book, you detail where COVID originated and what it really is. Can you share that, please?
I really can. All right, so 4 countries around the world. 4: China, Italy, Germany, and France. All took either the spike proteins of COVID, or they took the blood of people infected with COVID, or they took the blood, urine, and feces of those testing positive with COVID and had symptoms. And when they ran the DNA of their blood and of the virus, they found only one thing and one thing in common in every single person's tissues: that their immune system was producing antibodies targeting venom proteins synthetically manufactured from 36 different animals around the world, including 20 snakes, 15 cone snails in the ocean, and 1 starfish in the ocean, ironically called the crown of thorns starfish. And I show you the DNA evidence in the book from all 4 labs. The same test results has been confirmed in a total of 5 countries. Every symptom of COVID is perfectly explained when you know the spike proteins of COVID are homologous or identical to individual proteins found in various venoms that cause the prey of the person to lose their taste and smell, experience tinnitus, go hypoxic. Once you know what the actual cause of the symptoms are, you then understand why nicotine was a cure for so many, why EDTA and other products are the perfect antidote to most symptoms called COVID-19. And these are manufactured not just in Wuhan lab, they're manufactured in hundreds of labs around the world called pharmaceutical or bioweapons labs. They're all over the place, just so you know. And they use a technology called DNA plasmids.
DNA plasmids. Okay. What do you hope readers will take away from your book? Are there any specific actions or changes that in the mindset that you advocate for?
Yeah. Number one, the subtitle of the book is, the main title is Moving Beyond COVID-19 Lies. The subtitle is Restoring Health and Hope for Humanity. Why? Chapter 14, I highlight our United States government's document titled Long-Term Health Effects of COVID, just like your uncle, long COVID symptoms. And they compiled a list in 2024 of 200 symptoms or medical diseases that now include not just loss of taste and smell, heart palpitations, arrhythmias, AFib. The list also includes now schizophrenia, PTSD, depression, and psychosis, really, and diabetes. These are all now long COVID conditions. In the document, they published that you could be suffering with these conditions, any of you, for the next 10 years. Well, the truth is, once you know what the DNA evidence has told you is responsible for creating any of your symptoms, I show you in the book every medical test you can order to confirm the presence of those proteins in your body making you sick and why they last so long in your body and how quickly to detoxify them and remove them from your body. There is simple prescriptions, simple natural antidotes. For example, those with COVID-19, the number one thing many doctors called them were clot shots. In fact, Dr. Anthony Fauci pulled Johnson & Johnson from the market for 10 days because of blood clots being reported after the shots. Well, the blood clots created by the DNA plasmids in the COVID-19 vaccines are cured by one natural substance, and they've known it since 2006, and it's published by the NIH, and it's called N-acetylcysteine and licorice root. Well, how many of you knew that licorice root extract and N-acetylcysteine, a supplement you can buy anywhere, actually is a cure for these blood clots? And I show you the doses, I show you the research studies confirming how all of these blood clot conditions can be absolutely resolved when you find that your long COVID or vaccine injured is not responding to heparin, warfarin, Coumadin, or Eliquis. They will respond to a natural supplement of NAC, licorice root extract, and cinnamon cassia, which is in your pantry at home.
Okay, so what preventative measures do you recommend, doctor, for folks to protect themselves against the bird flu? I guess green tea, drinking green tea, and you said cumin seeds?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, at the Dr. Ardis show, I actually created a year and a half ago a way to stop people who are getting vaccinated for COVID impacting the health of people around them with a term called shedding. I created a product that's first ingredient was black cumin seed oil. Later than formulating that product, I later learned it's a cure for the bird flu. So there's a product called Biodefense at thedrardisshow.com, which actually has black cumin seed as its flagship ingredient. It works for both the COVID-19 vaccinated injured and those who are scared of the bird flu or even get sick with the bird flu. And then green leaf tea you should be consuming. Organic green leaf tea, just have it and drink it every single day. It stops the replication of the bird flu. It's proven. I have the research studies on my website if you want to see them. And then number 3 is virgin coconut oil. If everybody in America started cooking with virgin coconut oil in their meals instead of avocado oil or olive oil, you've got the cure you're consuming every day, even for your family. Green leaf tea, drink it for a refreshment every single day. It's a preventative and it's a curative agent. And then black cumin seed oil every day. I would just recommend a dose in the morning and in the evening, and you can get that anywhere online. I also carry my own.
Doc, why are not farmers? I mean, we're right here next to Minnesota, where they've got they supply the country with turkeys, and there was a lot of talk last fall that, hey, you better get your turkey because if there's a bird flu in Minnesota, it's going to wipe out pretty much the whole state. Why are they not feeding their chickens and turkeys black cumin seed in your tea, green tea? What's holding them back from doing something like that?
Yeah, their veterinarians don't know, or the ranchers, veterinarians overseeing their herds or their flocks are not telling them what they are already publishing in medical research studies. I actually have said many times at medical conventions from stages, when is it going to be that somebody creates a bird feed that contains green leaf tea, Nigella sativa oil or seeds, and virgin coconut oil flakes? Why don't you just put them in there? That would actually prevent and cure your birds. It's already proven to do so. And I show you the research studies at the Dr. Ardis show. It's already been proven to do that in all birds with a 90% efficacy rate just with black cumin seed oil. Then throw the other 2 in there. You've got a incredible antidote for any concerns of a bird getting sick, transferring that to you or cows or porpoises, you name it. These are incredible agents, and you don't need to be afraid. Oh, and I do want to say something. As they continue to destroy millions of eggs around the world, I just told you what science has said since 2008 is the only way we can catch this bird flu. You have to inhale into your lungs the blood, feather, or poop of the bird. Well, why are they destroying all the eggs of chickens?
Yeah.
You don't get the bird flu when you consume or swallow it into your stomach. So why are they killing all the eggs? You don't inhale eggs, do you? When you scramble them, you don't inhale them into your lungs. This is a respiratory virus. You don't eat it. You're supposed to inhale it. So they need to stop destroying all the chicken eggs. If you heat the eggs, boil them or cook them, the heat itself will be enough to destroy the virus protein. So anyway, I don't understand why they're destroying all the chicken eggs when they know it's true. We cannot get the bird flu without inhaling into our lungs those infected tissues of the bird.
Why is this a North American problem? Really, maybe not even so much North America. Well, yeah, because if you look to other countries around the world, they don't seem to have the bird flu issue.
No, they don't. In fact, everybody should be wondering how it is that in South Texas, Dr. Peter Hotez, a medical doctor, was able to say in December that when Donald Trump takes office on January 21st, he's going to be challenged with the next bird flu pandemic. Oh, really? How does Dr. Peter Hotez know that January 21st in 2025, all the birds in America are going to start coughing? How does he know that? Unless they're prophet, seer, and revelators, that's just silly. So why is it only in America? I can tell you why it's only in America. What was the agenda of the last pandemic called COVID-19? The White House actually wrote an entire document titled The Agenda for COVID-19 Pandemic. And in that document, it states the agenda is to vaccinate every arm of every American. Okay, well, what country in the world consumes more vaccines and drugs from Big Pharma than any other country in the whole world? It's America. Nobody buys, nobody gets prescribed, nobody swallows or injects more medications than the United States of America. We consume 50% of all pharmaceutical products manufactured in the whole world, but we only have 4% of the world's population. How's that possible? We are the sickest, we are the most overweight, we are the most diabetic, we are the most ill country in the world. And if it was true that all birds on the earth were coughing on every country, Americans would get sicker more than anybody else. Why? We are the most ill and the most chronically ill country in the world. No other country has 40% of their 60-year-old and older citizens that have 3 or more chronic illnesses all diagnosed for life. We're the only country that does. We are the most sick, the most drugged, and unfortunately, we are not ready. Our immune systems cannot handle the poisoning and often handling the infections, natural or otherwise, that we're presented with.
Well, short of taking up smoking, Doc, what steps should I take at national, global levels to better prepare myself for maybe a pandemic?
Just so you know, everybody asks me around the world, what am I preparing for with the bird flu? I am wearing a 3.5 milligram nicotine patch every day. I do not promote smoking. There are 599 chemicals the FDA allows to every cigarette and tobacco product commercially. Those are toxic and deadly. I don't use them. So a nicotine patch, I wear a 3.5 milligram size. And just so you know, they don't sell that size. You have to buy any size and then cut them down to 3.5 milligram sizes. Okay. I wear it every day for prevention. And I will do it forever for the rest of my life. I'm not joking. It's amazing. Once you read the book, you'll understand why, if you want to buy it, why it is that nicotine. Oh, and by the way, nicotine is not just found in tobacco. Your audiences may not know this, Jay. Did you know that nicotine is second highest in eggplants? Third highest in red tomatoes? Red tomatoes, all of you eating ketchup and loving BLTs, you're eating nicotine every single day. It's the third highest food with nicotine in it. And then white potatoes have high amounts of nicotine. Every French fry you've ever dipped in ketchup is 2 doses of nicotine, and no one ever told you. So you're not afraid of nicotine. Nicotine's not bad for you. You've been eating it your whole life. Okay, nicotine is good. And then you should get black cumin seed oil and have it at your home and take any dose on the bottle twice a day. Get green leaf tea, organic, preferably, and then get your virgin coconut oil. And you should be scot-free from ever having to worry about being tested positive for the bird flu, having any symptoms of the bird flu. And just so everybody knows, Google publishes right now over half of people that get the bird flu are going to die. That is not true. That is a lie. There's been like 10 cases in the United States since 2021 with the bird flu, and not any of them died until last month. Someone in a hospital with other chronic illnesses also died in Louisiana. No one else died. Everyone else either got just pink eye for a couple days with the bird flu, or got a fever for a couple days, or got fatigue for 3 days, and then it was over. That's how serious it was. And that's how serious it'll be for you if you ever get it.
Dr. Ardis, tell us where we can get the book, where we can find out more information, if you wouldn't mind, please.
Yeah, you can find any information from me about the bird flu, about my book at the drardisshow.com, the DRARDIS show.com, or you can go to Amazon. It's an Amazon bestseller right now, along with Melania Trump's book. Go buy 2 of them. Go get one, the Melania Trump book, and go get Dr. Ardis' book.
Awesome. Dr. Ardis, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate the knowledge.
You're very welcome. God bless everybody.
Thank you now. All right, 5 in front of 2 o'clock here at the News Desk. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with a look at the entertainment update for the day next on KFYR+.